Today I want to talk about anxiety disorders. Now, we're getting people in the office every day at Judson Family Chiropractic, and part of their history is I have anxiety. And they own it with full faith that they have anxiety. It is what it is. And they're on usually 2 or 3, 4 medications for anxiety. And then, as history shows it, as we start taking care of people, we start adjusting them, their body starts to stabilize. They say, I don't have anxiety anymore. And they're seeing their psychiatrist. We tell them to continue to see their psychiatrist. We never want to take them off the care they've been given. And they're happy to report that they're getting off their medication. The psychiatrist is taking them off their medications, that they aren't anxious anymore. They're sleeping better. They're happy. They feel more fulfilled. So now when patients come in, they say, well, so-and-so sent me, and they said that you can help with anxiety. And I tell all our patients, the first thing we tell them, we're not here to treat you. And we don't treat anything. So we're not going to heal you. No doctor is going to heal you in our office. But we're going to tap into that special something inside of you that helps your body adapt, to help your body heal. And we've talked about that on previous episodes. We have one, I don't think it's launched yet. I think it's coming out Monday, about what is innate. What is the innate intelligence? What's happening inside of you? What makes your body tick? So that'll be out before you even see this one, or hear it. But for those on the Facebook Live now, you're seeing this and you're knowing that there's an intelligence inside of you that helps your body adapt to stress, okay? So when I start going through what's happening with anxiety in our society, because we're getting a lot of moms, especially with high school kids, particularly high school girls, coming in with a lot of anxiety. And, you know, for a child to develop into an adult, going through puberty, developing hormones that are making them think certain things, it becomes tough. It becomes challenging. And if you're not from a stable home, things could be difficult and how you perceive this. But when you look at, I go to the Mayo Clinic site here and I put in anxiety disorders, and it's just interesting that it's got an S after disorders because there's many of them now. They've labeled them many situations. And to me, it's just your body's not adapting emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever you want to think. And their overview is experiencing occasional anxiety is a normal part of life. I agree. However, people with anxiety disorders frequently have intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situations, fearing life, fearing everyday situations. Often, anxiety disorders involve repeated episodes of sudden feelings of intense anxiety and fear or terror that reach a peak within minutes, and it's called a panic attack. So I'll get people that are coming in with anxiety meds, panic attack meds, then they're not sleeping, so they're on sleeping meds. Now their nervous system is so irregular, they're on blood pressure meds, and it just goes on and on and on. These feelings of anxiety, we're back to the website, the Mayo Clinic. The feelings of panic interfere with daily activities, are difficult to control, are out of proportion, and the actual danger can last a long time. You may avoid places or situations to prevent these feelings. Symptoms may start during childhood or the teen years and continue into adulthood. So the key word there is feelings. And what is a teenager feeling these days? What is a child feeling these days? And are we attaching ourselves to helping educate them on how to adapt to their feelings, how to connect to their feelings and their emotions, and the days where they feel inadequate or they're fearful of a situation or they're going to school and there's maybe some peer pressure, there's bullying going on. You know, the bullying doesn't stop. We see our government bullying us all the time with certain things that people aren't happy about, so they show up and rally. But we're talking about young kids now developing who start out in preschool, kindergarten, they're drawing, they're happy, they're loving, kids are cool with each other. Then they start developing a little bit of a personality, which a lot of times comes from home. And now they start getting judged. They start judging each other. And the kids that feel less than and insignificant will start getting anxiety because they don't feel like they fit in, which is a horrible, horrible thing. Now, here's the deal. When they talk about symptoms of these disorders. And if you'll notice in the caption here, the title, I put dis-orders, disorder, because it's just lack of order in the body, in the mind, in the emotions that's taking place. Now, I will clarify this. Can there be a chemical imbalance or someone's going through an organic disease in the body and something that's really serious throwing them off that's creating anxiety? Absolutely. That's a whole different story. But we're talking about this high percentage of people now walking around, because high school kids, particularly high school kids, anxiety rolls off their lips like it's nothing, okay? You know, if they're nervous about something, if they say, I'm nervous about this situation, that's different than saying, I have anxiety. I have anxiety is a victim mentality that shuts you down. It makes you a victim, makes you fearful, and you have a hard time adapting. So when they put on the Mayo website here, common anxiety signs and symptoms include feeling nervous, restless, or tense. Have you ever felt feeling nervous, restless, or intense? Having a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom. That sucks. Been there. Okay? We want to avoid danger by all choice. Having an increased heart rate. Been there. Done that. Okay? But what's increasing it? Right? Could be exercise. Could be sex. Could be stress. Any kind of stress is going to increase your heart rate. So it could be a normal adaptive phase your body's going through. Normal. Breathing rapidly. Right? So if you're exercising, breathing rapidly, does that mean you have anxiety or are you just pushing yourself? Sweating, trembling. Right? This could mean many things that are happening to us. Feeling weak and tired. You know, someone who's not sleeping well, they're stressed out, fatigued, they're going to feel weak, tired, and their body's going to adapt this way. Experiencing gastrointestinal problems. You know, these people fart a lot, right? They're gassy. Their body's not releasing. They're holding their breath. They're not breathing, because when we're stressed out, we hold our breath. They're not breathing properly, so the body has to get rid of the gas. Guess how it does it? They don't digest their food properly, so they got cramping, right? Because your parasympathetic nervous system, is the part of your nervous system that helps you relax, heal, rest, digest. For someone who's anxious, fearful, having tough emotions, and they're thinking about it, the sympathetic nervous system kicks into gear, which is your fight and flight. The sympathetic nervous system is the one that's going to make you go. It's intense. It's going to help you adapt. It's going to save your life in many situations. But if we can't kick out of the sympathetic nervous system and we stay in the sympathetic phase, our body's then going to create all these symptoms that they have listed here. And then the symptom of having the urge to avoid things that trigger anxiety. Well, that's a good urge. If you find something that triggers an emotion of not agreeing with it and not liking it, right? I don't call that anxiety. I call that I just don't want to be around this. You remove yourself from the situation. I teach my kids that if you feel uncomfortable and something innately does not feel right, remove yourself from that trigger. You don't need that emotion. Remove yourself from the situation. So then they go on to name all different kinds of disorders, you know, anxiety disorders that they've labeled. You know, if you get anxiety when you go out in public, they call that social anxiety. But it all comes down to, no matter what it is, as long as it's not an organic thing and your chemistry isn't truly imbalanced from like drugs or a disease in the body, okay, I'll give you the understanding that that's going to create some imbalance and create anxiety for sure. But if it's more of just a social anxiety, something that's triggered you, something that's happened as a child, then your body's thought process and the story that we associate that within our mind, right? Because we talk about mind, body, spirit. If those things aren't connected, there's an imbalance. You're going to create these symptoms, okay? And if we're trained to now show up at a doctor's doorstep, they're trained to say, okay, if you've got X amount of these symptoms that we read off, they're going to give you a pill, a drug to shut it down. So instead of dealing with the cause of the problem, we go ahead and treat the symptom. And when we treat the symptom, the problem is still there. It's just masked. It's like the oil light in your car goes off and you put a piece of tape over it so you cannot see it. You still have a problem. If that oil runs low, you're going to burn the engine out. If we allow these stressors to overcome our physical and emotional state, we are going to burn out. And that then turns into what we call depression. Because depression is despair. I can't adapt. I'm done. I'm having a hard time. So anxiety is almost a good thing, or could be a good thing, if you look at it and say, what is my trigger here? What's causing it? How come I don't want to go to lunch with this person? How come I don't want to go hang out with this group? How come I don't want to put myself in a position and it's giving me anxiety? Well, maybe that's your innate telling you that's the wrong environment for you. That's the wrong thing to do. Remove yourself from the situation. Deal with the emotion of it. Face it head on and say, this is not for me. This doesn't work for my spirit. This doesn't connect to me. Because if we don't and we allow it to layer itself and build up inside of us, it's going to turn into a bigger thing, and we call that depression. So anxiety is the way your body's talking to you, okay? It's the fire alarm going off in the house. If you wake up at 3 in the morning and the smoke alarm is going off, we don't run downstairs and take the battery out of the alarm. We go ahead and find out what the root cause of it is and put the fire out. And hopefully you're catching it early enough that it doesn't become a major problem. So the medications were designed at a place and time to save someone's life. If you go over to Finland and someone's dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression and they're having suicidal thoughts, they'll medicate them. Then they rally the family and the community around them, find the source of the problem, and talk about it, work through it, implement things in place that help them adapt, and then they get them off the medications if they can. Now imagine if we did that as a society here in America, because the United States of America, it's been documented, we ingest 80% of the psychiatric drugs made in the world. So anxiety is just a big one. Many people, I'm sure, listening to this now, well, I got anxiety. What the hell is this guy talking about? Well, why? What's the cause? You weren't born that way. We weren't designed to be walking around fearful. Okay? So when we can get to the source of the problem and take responsibility for change. So our patients that walk through our door here, when they take responsibility for change, and I tell them it's easy. You come in here and just have to lay on a table, and we start adjusting you and clearing out the subluxation and improving clarity between the brainstem and the rest of your body. Neurologically, your body's going to naturally balance out. It's a given. Okay, whether you believe in it or not, okay? If I take these glasses and drop them, they're going to fall. Natural law of gravity. If I increase the integrity of the communication between every cell tissue of your body and the brainstem, the thing that created you from a sperm and an egg, your body's already functioning better, 100%. So patients immediately notice. They start sleeping better. Once we clear out that atlas, they feel their blood pressure. We have people that are on pulse ox and blood pressure. They have to take their blood pressure every morning. They notice immediately their pulse ox, their blood pressure changes for the better immediately after the adjustment. They sleep better. They start to dream. They start to think better. What does this tell me? That there's more connection. There's more connection and balance in the body, okay? And one of the things I try to teach my kids is, you're never going to find balance in life. I think that's like a bullshit thing when we say, find balance. Well, okay, yeah, Gandhi, how'd that go for you? At the end of the day, I want to find a rhythm, right? Life is like surfing. When the big waves come, I want to be ready. I want to be able to adapt so I don't get crushed. That's life. That's stress coming at you, right? And when you're riding down and you're coasting and you're swimming on your belly and floating through life, you want to be preparing for the wave that's coming, right? Because every peaceful day is just a moment closer to being a stressor, whether it's, a chemical, physical, emotional stressor coming at you that you're going to have to adapt. How are we preparing day in and day out? And that's when we talk about morning routines, getting quiet, meditation, getting adjusted, keeping that brainstem clear, keeping your body connected. So when it hits the fan, your body's like, let's bring it on, baby. I'm ready for you. It's like a boxer stepping in the ring. If he's not training weeks, months prior to going in that ring, he's going to get his ass kicked. So I don't want to get my ass kicked in my life. I don't want to be prepared because I don't want me, my family, my kids walking around saying, I have anxiety. Anxiety is a punk. It's a word. It's energy. We don't want to create that energy. And I find myself getting excited now. I'm getting into sympathetic mode because I know there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids. I had a mother come to me this morning about her son who's having issues of anxiety because he's got to go try out for the baseball team and he's not sleeping and he's thinking about hurting himself. I'm like, come on, bro, over baseball? Train. Get in the gym. Work out, do your best effort, and if you're not good enough, you don't make it. It's not the end of life. I told him the Michael Jordan story and how he got cut. He never heard the story. How's a kid never hear the story? Now he's going to go home and watch 20 videos of Michael Jordan and how he got cut from his high school team, and because he got up every morning and trained his ass off, he became the greatest basketball player of all time. So the perception changes. right? So the thing we have to do is embrace people around us that are having a tough time, who maybe label themselves, they have the anxiety, embrace them and say, let's take control of this word and find out what's the source of the problem, and lovingly take care of each other and discuss it, talk it. Don't feed into the problem and try to one-up each other's story of, I'm worse than you, I got anxiety, I can't do this. But why? Where's it coming from? Was it a childhood experience? Was daddy a punk? Was mom an alcoholic? Was who, whatever the source is, at what point do we have true friendships that rally around one another and say, let's get this thing together? Let's get your atlas cleared out. Let's emotionally talk about it. Let's make sure you're eating properly so you're not putting neurotoxins into your body. Are you getting proper sleep? Are you training, exercising? Are you breathing properly? Okay, meditating, inhale, exhale. Imagine teaching kids, raising this from day one, right? Day one. While my babies were sleeping, I'd whisper in their ear how awesome they were, how spiritually connected they are, that God loves them. Might sound foo-foo-y, man, but they believe it. It goes into their consciousness. So I'm here to tell you, at the end of the day, a word's a word. And the energy we give it, we feed it. And we got to choose how we speak to each other. And that's why we like to teach our patients here just to tell themselves every day, I'm awesome. At this thing called DE, we talk about, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific. If you're waking up not smiling and you just keep saying, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific, you're going to start to smile. I remember one time we had a young kid coming in. He was really depressed. He was telling me how bad he was. I took a pencil and I stuck it in his mouth and I told him to look up at the ceiling. And he was trying not to do it, and he just did it and had the pencil in his mouth staring at the ceiling, and he started to laugh. We're 10 minutes before he wanted to die, and he started to crack up. And I said, don't laugh. And he couldn't. He had to laugh. And I said, are you really that sad? And he started laughing. The kid's life's never been different again. It changed his state, and he realized the story he was feeding, the animal he was feeding was a lie. And we can't feed that animal, right? You got to feed it good thoughts, happy thoughts, abundant thoughts, kick-ass thoughts. And if someone ever looks you in the eye and says, you have anxiety, you tell them to kiss your ass and say, I'm not accepting that. I may have fear. I may have anger. I may have worries of outcomes and putting myself into situations. But if I could get quiet, say my prayer and say, listen, I'm protected and I'm going to go for the best outcome that I can achieve, and I'm going to be prepared, then it becomes a task. It doesn't become a fear. So when we can start teaching these young kids, these high school kids, and they learn to adapt and realize it's okay to get punched in the mouth and get back up and go forward. I think it's better to be the one that can punch and knock someone out, but guess what? There's always someone tougher, and life always has something coming at you that's going to be a burden. But when you realize that, you know what? I ain't going down no more. This is my life. I'm going to control my life. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to create my life. And we realize we have the power to create our life. A word like anxiety is not going to put us on 4 medications that are doping us up, making us punch drunk, and stealing our chance of expression of life, because the biggest thing we have is choice. And you have a choice to make. You're either going to adapt to the problem and create abundance, love, and peace by who you surround yourself with, the music you listen to, the things you read, to totally brainwash yourself to make yourself freaking happy. Because if you don't, they're going to start popping you through of chemistry that's going to throw your body off. And now it's hard to pull out of that. And I see it every day in our office that these people are so attached to the story and fearful that their brain shuts down. They're in the parking lot parked catty corner because they're stoned. But when we start clearing out that atlas and they wake up and they get connected to their spirit and they go from thinking to feeling and they heal from their emotion, their triggers, and they own it. They own it for their life. Their entire life changes. And that's our job, is to be able to be truthful to one another and say, hey, you don't have to live this way, man. You may take this medicine right now to get you through this little hurdle, but let's find out the source of the problem and help you get stronger to adapt. And man, when that happens and people wake up to their purpose in life, they become the most amazing individuals that you'll ever spend time with. And then they're able to recognize other people's pain. They'll recognize other people that are dealing with anxiety and be able to embrace them and carry them through it. Because when you're able to serve others and show them the love and bring them from a place that you used to be to a place where you know they could be, you're going to become stronger. You have a purpose in life, and you're going to heal on a higher level. So manifest this. Manifest your happiness, however you do it. People always ask me, Steve, well, how do you always do it? Look, my life's busy as shit, but I have a routine to be able to brainwash myself, to make myself feel good about me and take action. Because if I don't, I could hurt a lot of people, and I don't want to go there. So you got to create that space of love, whether it's find happy YouTube stuff. I like to follow good pastors and worship and things like that, motivational speakers, funny things, good music, whatever I have to do to get my brain thinking the way I want to think it, and then own my space that I'm freaking awesome. This is my life, and I'm living it, baby, till I just burn out, right? I think it was Leonard Skinner that was like, I'm just going to burn out someday, and that's it, and I've lived my life. So I want that for every single person. I think we all do in our heart. And it's surrounding yourself with the right people. And I'll urge you, share this. With social media, man, we got these videos in this podcast we're doing that are all over the world. It's insane. And I'm getting messages from people like, I needed that. You know? And for me, I try to remain humble to the source that this is not about me, and I know it's not, but it's about changing people's lives. And that fills my cup. That makes me feel good about myself. That when my day comes, when I meet my maker, I'm like, brother, Jesus, man, God, I did the best I could. And I feel good about that. And I want you to feel good about your life. I want you to smile, be happy, embrace your shit that's going to come at you, and realize that it doesn't own you. No matter how down it's got you right now, you're going to lift yourself up, get around the right people, and be happy. Anxiety's a punk, people. Kick anxiety in the balls and say you're no longer part of my life. Okay? Come up with a different word for it. I call it just shit for the moment. But it's going to flush down that toilet and I don't have to worry about it. But it ain't anxiety. It's just life. And life's going to be coming at you. But when you live the principle of living clear and living through your spirit, living in the world but not of the world, man, life gets so much, much better. I love and appreciate every one of you guys. We have a bunch of people on this thing here. I can't keep up with it. We got Jesse, Trombino, what's up? Love you. Spread the word, man. Share the love. Start your own YouTube channel, man, and get people out there engaged. Spread the podcast around. Spread this video around. The greater energy always wins. The greatest energy in life is love. Love. At one point in my life, I probably had a bit of anxiety and shit going on, and I didn't know what love was. And when I meditated it and I embraced it, and I said, God, what is this freaking love? Because, you know, I love a dog and the damn thing dies all the time. I mean, then I got to cry and bury it, and I'm like, what's the point of loving? It's better off just to kick the thing in the teeth, but that's not life, man. I don't want to be that person. So LOVE, life's only vital expression. LOVE, life's only vital expression. It's vital we love, gang. Vital. And don't be anxious about who loves you. The thing to be key about is to love yourself. Love yourself enough and realize the Lord put you on this earth for a greater purpose. Step aside and let him speak it into your existence and find it. And when you do, you take over anxiety, man. There's no room for anxiety to live in your spiritual house, in your heart, in this space. Create it. And we'll do more podcasts and videos on how to create it, because I've been there and done it, and I resonate with you, and I love and appreciate you. I'm going to check out. God bless you.